We're bird proofing. Pelicans fly this river in the springtime for about 3 weeks. It took us a long time to figure that out because the pelicans would fly into the wire, trip the line out. You get down here and you couldn't find anything. So finally we had one that got tangled up in the wire, and then we knew what our problem was. Generally happens between about 10 o'clock at night and midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that. For some reason, them goofy buggers fly the river. And they can't see that wire in the dark of night, is what I believe. So they fly into it. A lot of utilities have a lot of problems with pelicans, and we're not the only ones. This power line crosses the river 13 times between the substation at Belfry and the state line. So we have a lot of river crossings that we're trying to protect, cover up, show the birds where they're at, kind of a thing. So it's been a long process trying to figure out these daggone pelicans. We got some installed already out over top of the river. This deal here is just a yellow guy guard. Most everybody, if you have a guy wire in your yard or something, we always try to put these on to let people know where they're at. The deal with this is we're putting these over top of the wire, and then we're fastening some flappers on top of there. The flapper has a little gooch on it that whenever the wind blows, that thing goes around. There's a couple of reflective deals on it, so we're hoping, and salesmen say that birds can see that at night, and so that jiggles a little bit. Then those birds come flying down the river, and they'll be able to see that power line and avoid it. So we have had some success. We're still getting blinking lights in Wyoming, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it isn't pelicans." Well, I think it is. I think that's a big part of our blinking light problem. So this wire here, that's the main line out of the Belfry substation. Substation's over top of that hill. It goes through here, and it goes up there. They built this power line in about 1983. They did that they follow the irrigation ditches. And the thinking there is that members can have better access to three-phase power for irrigation pumps to put them along the irrigation ditch, which is pretty cool. You don't have to build a 2-mile tap to an irrigation pump. A lot more economical for the consumer putting a pump out there. But when it's muddy and it's raining, it's kind of a bugger sometimes, and it takes longer to get service restored if you have a problem. If it's out in the middle of Farmer Joe's field or something like that, it takes a while to find it, and so we struggle with that. So we're going to try to put this on here. It takes a little bit to get these things going, but.
And you're doing this all with a hot line, correct, Mike?
That's correct. This power line is 14,400 volts to ground. From here to that wire is 14,400. The voltage in between this wire and that wire is 24,900. Yeah, we try to keep everything just how it's supposed to be. There, not quite to the finished product, but so then we'll take our flappery thing. We'll put that on here.
And that material looks like the exterior will glow at night. Is that true?
It is supposed to glow in the dark.
Okay.
So those goofy pelicans can see it, I guess. The highest visibility. These things cost about 15, 18 bucks a piece, so you can't put a million of them on. It just would be cost prohibitive. So I think this is a pretty good idea that I'm not sure who came up with that. One of the problems is when the river's this high, it's hard to get something over top of the river so the birds can see it. So this is a pretty good thing they got going here, I think. To try to get them out over top of the river is a challenge. You you can't take every wire down and pull it back and put something on it. People be out of power for a long time. So we're trying to keep the lights on as much as we can. So I'm gonna move this truck out there as far as I can, closer to the river.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give it a shove to try to get it out over top of the river. The wire kind of has a belly in it in between poles, so hopefully it settles out in the belly, which would be over top of the river. So
Here we
we're
go.
hoping for the best.
Here we go. Now, when those pelicans hit the wires, do they slap together, and that's the
exactly
causing
right.
of the blink?
It might not trip the line out, but it will open up a piece of equipment that's in the substation. That equipment is designed to, if you have a lightning strike or something like that, that equipment will open up for 1.5 seconds, 1 3/4 seconds, let that lightning strike clear, and then re-energize. And that's where a lot of the blinks come from. Pelicans do the same thing. They bump 2 of these wires together. Well, there's a short, so that equipment will open up at the substation, wait that 1.5 seconds. Hopefully the wires, don't get back together. Well, there's a blink. So the power isn't out. If you ever at home during a storm or something and the lights dim out once, and then again, and then a third time, you're always hoping for it to hang in there, because if it gets to 4, it's 4 to lockout. So then you're going to be out of power until somebody comes and turns it on. So, but that's the premise of the equipment that we have in the substation. And there's some up at Jackson's, and there's a bunch in Clark.
Thanks, Mike. That was a good explanation.
Might have to tear Dan's wire down here.
So right now he's controlling this bucket, similar to the one I'm in, and you have controls right here to be able to move yourself once you're up. And something to be said, when we put up avian mitigation devices during the winter, it's a lot easier. The linemen can walk out on the ice and be able to maneuver it exactly where they want to. But the springtime, open high water time makes it quite difficult. So Mike's going to try to get it centered as much as possible from his bucket truck. I think the most amazing part of all this is that our linemen do work with hot wire. And that's to make sure that no one's out of power while they perform any processes. It's a dangerous activity, but beneficial for our members. Mike, how far out will that go?
What's that?
How far out will that extend?
I really don't know how far that is. What is that? 30 feet, maybe?
So you can see some of the safety features. Put the balancing feet down on both ends.
Like a zip line.
That's all there is to it, Mike. Nice job. well in the center of that river crossing. Hope that's brought you a little information about what's going on with the Pelican Carols and power lines. Thanks for watching.